Hey everyone, I want to talk a little bit about self-worth and a lot of the stuff on social media with the younger generations coming in and seeing this, because right now there's a lot of really big influencers who are talking about stuff like, you have to have a six-pack to be good at sales. And there's a lot of stuff out there about your physical appearance having some sort of correlation to the rest of your life and success patterns. And there's no correlation of that whatsoever. It's a total made-up myth. That doesn't mean that, not being in good shape is the best thing for you. We're certainly not highlighting that. We're just highlighting that you don't have to work out your biceps or have a six-pack to be a very stoic and calm person, rational, who's very successful in many areas of your life. Monetary success is just one level of success. Success is extremely subjective to the person. But the reality is your self-worth can't be determined on one particular aspect, such as your physique or having money, and why this is leading to high levels of depression and anxiety, way outside the boundaries of OCD. Just a lot of young kids in general are really, really suffering with this. So Rob and myself, it would be very, very important to make a topic on this. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you're finding our channel for the first time, we have a great playlist section, whether we have OCD or not. We have a lot of acceptance videos, just general anxiety-based videos. And if you're struggling with these type of topics, if you feel as if you're very depressed, if you're even thinking about harming yourself, please reach out to Phil at OCDrecovery.com. We work with a lot of younger kids who are coming in, like I said, that 16 to 25 range. And they're saying, a lot of the stuff like, hey, look, I feel like I have to be a man in order to accept myself. I have to come across as the boss or the shit or the coolest person. I got to have the Mercedes. I got to stretch my income to the limit. I got to have $5 million to be happy. And all this other really nonsensical bullshit that we see on social media that's really holding people back. And we're going to break a lot of that down in this video. And I'm going to tell you about my struggles with this as well, because I really struggled with this. So let's just jump right into it. So we have a book on our reading list called The Myth of Self-Esteem. Now, The Myth of Self-Esteem, by the way, to find those books, OCDrecovery.com, underneath the free resource tab, you'll see them all there. So The Myth of Self-Esteem sounds like a very weird title. What do you mean by the myth of self-esteem? I thought your self-esteem was the most important thing ever. I remember one time, when Matthew McConaughey's new book came out, Green Lights, I believe, which I'm sure is a great book. Gary Vaynerchuk, was asking him how important is self-esteem for life. And he goes, it's the most important thing in life. And you would think that if you didn't know any other way. But when you actually look at it, it's Albert Ellis, who is probably the most influential person in psychology to ever exist. Many people believe that. His accolades are completely tremendous. On top of him completely shaping cognitive behavioral therapy, which unfortunately today has been watered down to a lot of just general talk therapy. I always say people, if they're working with someone on this, and the person you're working with is not focusing primarily on perspectives and belief systems, and they're not giving you behavioral changing homework, you're not doing CBT or REBT, you're doing just talk therapy, because it's very easy to do that. It's much more difficult to be constructive in breaking down belief systems. So self-esteem, in the way I see it and been practicing this for the last 4 years, is probably the biggest disease, self-causing disease, but it's not just particularly self-causing. There is more than likely an innate and biological component to it that humans do to themselves. It's probably instilled in our psychology and our genetics for thousands of years because it makes sense to protect you from rejection, psychological rejection, physical rejection, herd mentality, and being accepted. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't cause more cons than pros, which it certainly does. So let me tell you what most people believe of self-esteem. Let's go through the general stuff. I must have X amount of money in order to accept myself. I must be a sexy or good-looking person in order to accept myself. I must show other people why I'm smarter than them to accept myself. It's very conditional. Self-esteem is like filling up this cup right here. So I'm filling up this cup with water, but there's no bottom. So you're filling it up in the water just as fast as it's going in is just as fast as it's going out. There's nothing unconditional about it. And the only people that can obtain high levels of perceived self-esteem are extremely rich, good-looking, everything in their life has been handed to them, and everything is going perfect types of human beings. And even then, it's still conditional. So The chase for conditional self-acceptance, aka self-esteem. So I'll give you the example on the self-esteem aspect, right? So when people say, well, how is conditional self-acceptance self-esteem? Let's use the simplest thing. I feel really low. I'm going to go to the gym and make myself look better to build self-esteem. There's nothing wrong with building muscle. There's nothing wrong with going to the gym and wanting to be in shape. But the reality is that's not going to give you unconditional self-acceptance. So when the younger generation is coming in, they're talking about the three big things that we see. I have to be a man in order to be accepted by females. I have to have a lot of money, which means there's a lot of lying going on right now. I see it. And I was a huge liar. Lying primarily comes from fear of rejection, fabrication, and overgeneralization. I was a huge exaggerator. Don't get me wrong. I still love telling stories and, in that comedy sense, but I did it a lot more because I was afraid of being rejected. That was a really big component of it. And the other one too is the physique one, right? So there's a lot of people on social media and TikTok right now. I'm not going to drop any names, but the individuals I'm talking about. I was listening to a really big podcast the other day talking about, they were talking about, and not to get political, but to just use an example, they were talking about the debate, right? The Republican debate in America. We had the first one. And they were talking about Governor from where I'm from, Jersey, Christie, and how he was overweight. And they were saying you could never trust anyone who can't control the amount of food they put in their mouth. That's a very, 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 very nonsensical statement. Now, does Governor Christie obviously struggle with some discipline with eating? Sure. But he's made it all the way to the primaries, or whatever that's, called them. I don't even know if primaries is the correct word, but made it to the first Republican debate. And he was mayor being morbidly obese. So that one habit of his life wasn't good, but he might have had many other habits in his life that were good. You have to get very comfortable with the fear of rejection by females or males, depending on what side or whoever you're into, whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, etc. You have to get comfortable with the other people, the people you're attracted to, finding you not attractive. Your ability to, if we look at the greats, let's look at the financial greats, right? Warren Buffett, I'm blanking out right now. Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Ray Dalio, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, lots of people. I can't remember the other woman's name. They call her the $1 trillion woman. Many of these people do not have good physiques, but they're very intelligent, calm people. Ray Dalio is the best example. Ray Dalio, if he took his shirt off, wouldn't look like anything special whatsoever from a physical appealing perspective, but he's one of the more rational individuals I've ever heard speak in my life. So that conditional belief that you need to look a certain way in order to be accepted is simply not true. Your worth as a human can't be determined by any one action or multiple actions, because individuals will see things in different ways. If you're a serial killer and you kill people and you go to jail, everyone will think you're an evil person. But maybe other serial killers look at you as a good person because they might hate humanity. Maybe they are someone that I hate people and I just wanted to kill as many people as I could. So you're in jail talking to other serial killers and they're like, I think you're amazing. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm using a conceptual example. There's no such thing as inherently good and bad. The concepts of good and bad change over time. They change throughout cultures. They change because of the views of your family, your economic structure, socioeconomic structure. So I always say humans are born as a shell. No one is born a Christian. You can't be a Christian because it takes thinking about your faith. If you're 14 minutes old, you're not a Christian. You're just a human. And then you develop Christianity-based belief systems. Many people don't like hearing this, but it's simply just the more than likely truth. Because if that baby was born in Saudi Arabia, it would more than likely grow up to have Muslim and Arabic type belief systems. If it was born in Alabama, it would more than likely be raised as a Christian. If it was born in Rome or the Vatican, it would be born as Catholic and practice Catholicism. But if that same baby was moved around, it would grow up in a totally different belief system. So it's not as simple as just that person has value because they have a physique. And because I struggled so much with the physique, I'm going to sneeze again. My allergies. My allergies have been crazy because I just lost my train of thought because my allergies have been so bad. Because I struggled so badly with that. I struggled really badly with my physique. I was very counting my calories for years, always wanted to look good. And I'm in arguably some of the best shape I've ever been in right now, but it's such a different belief system behind it. I do it because I love it. I do it for personal satisfaction. But my ability to work out and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to train has absolutely no correlation with anything else in my life whatsoever. Some of the behaviorally laziest people I've ever met in my life are people in the fitness industry. And I mean behaviorally lazy, because they're based off of fear. And I get them. I understand them. No, I'm going to count my calories all day and I'm going to work out. That's not a job. That's a comfort life. Doing a leg press with 800 pounds to failure is not hard work. Hard work is getting in the fucking fields and digging holes and trenches when people are doing power lines or gas lines or roofers, and then they're going to the gym afterwards or vice versa. But your ability to train weights is not a difficult thing in life. It's a luxury. And that is a very important thing for men. There's a lot of hard truths in this. I'm telling you, this is all from personal experience. Doesn't mean you can't work out. And these younger kids, you guys are guys and women who are coming in. Your physical appearance cannot mean anything about you as a human, because there's people out there that are very fat and overweight and they've accepted what they looked like, and vice versa with money. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please read The Myth of Self-Esteem. It's on the reading list. Then start practicing that and questioning your beliefs. Why do I need to have a good physique? Who says I have to have money? If you and I went to Africa right now, and we went to some really, really poor poverty village in, say, Uganda, and we had some great conversations with people, they might be some of the happiest people we've ever met because of perspectives and how they were raised. And they have nothing to their name, and there's malaria, and there's death, and 5 million kids a year in Africa die from and correct me if I'm wrong, of dehydration, from diarrhea, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of bad things out there on earth, but people accept those realities because they don't know any better, and they're not judging their worth off their physiques. This is a very, very comfort-based belief system, and it's a very new age thing. I always think, if I was Marcus Aurelius, do you think Marcus Aurelius, the greatest Stoic philosopher of all time, or Epictetus, or Seneca the Younger, or any of the other greats, oh gosh, what's his name? From Taoism, Lao Tzu. I think as I say it, Lao Tzu. I don't think Lao Tzu was saying, I have biceps from a better person. This is all new age stuff. It's understandable. It gives us power, makes us feel better, but you can break that down. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know what you think. If you're struggling with this, please reach out to Phil at OCDrecovery.com, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. Have a good one, everyone.